countdown to the October 7th presidential election narrows with a big unanswered question that remains: the role of women can play in the process. Women in Cameroon constitute a significant number that can influence change in participating in the voting process. The role of women has often been undermined in the past, but how can this notion change this year? The turn-up is talking today about women and politics. Stay tuned. Hello everyone and welcome to another exciting edition of your program Turn Up, a program that seeks to empower women and the girl child. We are broadcasting live from Douala, Cameroon, and today we're talking about women involvement in politics, and we are just a few days to the October 7th presidential election in Cameroon, and we're looking at how can women impact a change in Cameroon. In 2018 was the role of women. Why should women rather go to the polls on October 7, 2018, and as usual, we've invited fine brains. We have women here in the studio to talk about this very important subject. If you want to participate on today's program, you can send your reactions on the number you've seen on your TV screens. You can equally follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Now, start by introducing my guest, and I'll begin with somebody, maybe she's very far away from me, Michelle Ndih. You're a regular face on the media. You have of the Cameroonians movement. You're welcome to
Thank you so much.
Now, what is the latest information when it concerns your candidate?
As usual, he's on the road. He's been in Bafoussam and then Chang in the past few hours. He's on his way to Mbanga.
Okay.
We're trying everything to be able to welcome him in Boya, and we think he should also be going if time allows us to organize that properly in Bamenda before the end of the week. So he's pretty much busy at the moment, trying to meet
on the field.
Yes, his approach has always been to go to the people. He thinks really that presidential elections is about one person meeting the whole of Cameroonian people. So he has to be able to know and to be known by the maximum.
All right. We equally have Madam Anjoko Gladys of the Social Democratic Front Party. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And this is the first time I have you on Canal do English.
No, I think this is my second time.
All right. Now, what's the latest news when it concerns your candidates? We're talking about Joshua Osi.
Yeah, I know. I think Joshua is okay. He's doing fine. And he's been globe-trotting, if I can say.
Okay.
He's been in the central region, and tomorrow he will be in Buda. They'll be expecting him there. And we're in constant communication with him because we have a grand rally here on Saturday at 2 o'clock at Paco Vita. And we're all looking forward to meet him again because it's been a long road and journey.
2 weeks of campaign. Do you think it has been creating impact?
SDF has always been the party that has created impact in this country. So it's just normal that the train continues.
All right. Now we equally have Esther Key, political desk, Guiding Post newspaper. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Maureen. It's always a pleasure.
Okay. Now, how do you feel reporting, going, crisscrossing major cities, maybe just being in Douala to report on political issues in your newspaper?
Well, it has indeed been exciting and moving about. It's a first-time experience, actually. The last time I witnessed elections, I was not a professional at that time. But now I must say that it comes with a flair of having to be objective in your reporting, not taking sides or being biased, focusing on one candidate and stuff like that. And from the start of the campaigns, I must say that some parties have really been putting much more weight, and we are having like the vibe it's coming from all the parties, not just one-sided.
All right, we'll be talking about you as a reporter, the eye of our reporter in this edition of Turn Up. Now, I want to get back to the ladies who are involved in campaigns in the respective political parties. We're talking about SDF, we're talking about MRSC or Maurice account. So now, how much mobilization have you done in terms of women? Anybody can talk.
Maybe you want to go first.
Well, with the Social Democratic Front, women have, they've always been the majority, and they've always been very active. You're talking about the socialist woman.
Okay.
You're talking about the woman who works. You're talking about the woman who wants to participate in development. You're talking about the woman who is always on the move. So surprisingly, for women of sub-Saharan countries, I'm so impressed with the turnout of women who attend meetings, who even come to my place to ask what's the next move, what are we doing, how are we going to go about this, or have you seen this and that campaign, do you think we're still in line? I said, but look at the base. We see all of you are still there. So there's nothing to worry about.
Now,
so.
Michelle, is this the same thing with the MLC party?
I think for us, the one thing that is impressive is that you can see a shift between the attitude of the more mature women who have been in the party since 2012 when the party was created, and the younger generation. The women tended to be, supporting, doing the administrative work, doing the background stuff. And now I have had the joy of seeing the young women, 25, 23, 30 years old, they are still students. And now they come to the party and they're going to the field. One of my young mates, she used to work with me in Douala 1, and she went and do the tour with Maurice Kamto from far north to east,
which means
to
that women are
Kribi,
gradually seeing the need
yes,
to be
and
involved in politics.
yes,
What we did not
and
have
to
in the
play
past.
key roles, and they don't see themselves again having to work only on logistics and food for the men. They think about the impact they want to have on the field, on the people. They think about the value they can add in designing a program. And we do have we are lucky to have in CRM a body dedicated to women, that is women wing of the party. Okay. And it is important not because you want to put them aside, but because you need a particular planning and strategy to get them to understand that they need to be pushed forward and push themselves forward. And you can see that happening with the younger generation.
Is it all about excitement? We see the women involved in rallies, meetings, only and at clapping. You're talking about the women who want to involve in designing programs. Now, how do you feel the impact? Do you actually feel the impact of the women when it comes to like mobilizing women in rally grounds, when it comes to Social Democratic Front, on your campaign meetings?
Yes, we've had a good turnout. And as I told you before, SDF has been very structured.
How involved are these women?
They're very involved because even before campaign started, they've been going out for trainings, the Socialist Women International groups, and they've been coming to Cameroon. We've been having meetings. So women, with the SDF party, is not something new. It's a continuous process. We've always had women involved in politics, and now they are more than excited.
What percentage of women are we talking about?
In SDF,
is it a significant number?
Yeah, the number is quite significant. I would say SDF is almost the same.
Is it 50-50 like the main?
Oh, close to it. Might be 52-48, but the involvement of women in politics in SDF is quite impressive. It's significant.
Are they giving key roles?
Of course, they're giving key roles. That's why in the Senate, our group leader, or let me not call it group leader, one of the vice presidents of the Senate is from SDF. It's a woman, so that's our leader in the Senate. So we've had secretary generals in SDF who've been women. Right here with us, she'll soon come on the program, Madam Elizabeth from whom she's a NEC member, and we'll have lots of NEC members who are women.
Okay.
I think I will even say 30% that they've done the 30% quarter.
All right, but we think that the people say out there is still very insignificant. We'll talk about key roles women play in political parties. You don't really find the women. You don't really see them there. You see them still at the background. Now, do you end, Michelle, do you just end in the party, in your women's wing, or do you go out there to other women who are not like, who are still like shy, they're like afraid of getting into politics? Now, how do you deal with such women? How do you mobilize these women?
The first thing we do is we have a particular chapter in the program of the party to address that particular issue.
Okay.
Because it is an issue. You cannot pretend it's not.
Because we don't limit it just to the women who are involved, who are part of the party. We need to get out to other women.
It goes far beyond that.
Okay.
If you look at, for example, the voters, you will note that among the voters population, you would have something like 40% of women. So getting them to be interested and involved in the process starts as electors. They tend to kind of back off from this area, and we need them to understand. So it's first, it is about women feeling empowered, and that is the role that we're trying to play when we do role modeling, when we show them that there's no barrier, whatever you want to do. And you have this part of policy making. Okay. You need to have a clear policy as a party as to how you are going to get more women involved. That is, you need to make a conscious decision. You need women. In the CRM directorate, you have 3 vice presidents who are women, and that is not the women's wing. On top of the directorate, that is the normal directorate, okay, you have women, and then you have a women's wing, because we want for the next election for city councillors and parliamentarians, we want to be able to tell them, you will have to set aside some seats for the women's wing.
All right.
And build the leadership capacities of this
now,
women.
my question remains. I'm talking about women. We have so many women out there. Some of them are at rally grounds and meetings, but they are not militants of these political parties. Now, some of them are shy. Some of them are just reluctant. Some of them are like scared. They have a lot of things that is pushing them away. Now, how do you get these women involved? They have to go to the polls.
I'll give you an example of what I did personally. I live in Bonaberi, Sodiko. So when they were registering, when registration was going on, I had to organize some form of dance party, you know, where you come and just, not a formal party, and you just come and dance with your drink or bring something to sell, or, you know, just come in. So I will invite the Elekam guy and he will come to the house, the Elekam.
Okay.
Yeah, he will come and he will register women, and like that they became very interested.
Okay.
Where I live, women pass in front of my house almost every day.
Okay.
So I talk to them as they go. I am like a mother to them. Even before campaign started, I gathered them. We had a party. I had to go out of our policy of not giving drinks during meetings, but I had to do this to entice them. Even now, to get them registered, I had to do basins, little things with SDF on it, just to entice them to join the band, so that they register, so that they work for Joshua.
So it's like you need to strategize to get more women. That's what women need, because it's not easy. So, it's not easy, Michelle, to get women involved in politics.
So I had to come out from where I was militating to actually create a ward in my house, where the vice, is a woman.
Right, Esther, you want to react to that?
Yes, I think that she raised a point here, you understand. Having to organize a party to get women involved or getting them to register. I think that's where our problem is. You understand? We want women getting involved in politics because they know what they are going in for. Not because they will be enticed by party materials or maybe a party. We want women getting involved in elections, in politics, because they want a better life for their children and great-grandchildren. We want them involved, knowing that, no, I'm getting into politics or maybe getting involved in this party because they have good amenities for women. They have a good program for women. The girl child is being promoted. Health care for children is being promoted. We want to see women knowing why they are getting into politics.
How do you talk to them if you don't bring them together?
Now, the other day...
Women are human beings. You have to know that human beings, they like a little bit of comfort. They like a little bit of loving. They have a little bit of, just to pamper them, and that's typically women.
No,
so
we are not.
You need to play with their psyche. You need to get them involved. You need to hold their attention so that they listen to you, and that's when you come in to teach them. What do you want to do? How do you tell them about your policies? You see them passing on the road and you start saying, this is SDF policy, we have this thing, free education right up to
Maybe
this.
they'll get scared.
No.
Maybe
they'll get scared. So you kind of cajole them. You bring them together. This is a mother's touch. You understand? I've lived through this, so I know how to cajole, how to bring them together, and then you give them the message. There you find a fertile ground where they will listen to you, where they will even want to carry this message on.
The issue here is that I think, like, I'll repeat myself, we need to get to a point where we women will no longer be cajoled in order to accept political programs. Now, this is a point. You will cajole these ladies. You will tell them you organize your party and give them food and drinks. They will receive your message, good and fine. Some other candidate, some other party will come with the same strategy, do the same thing, give them bags of rice and salt and palm oil, and they will accept it. So we want women who will get to a point where, no, present to us your political program, your social program, your economic program. Let us be able to understand it and see our place in this program, not just the bags of rice.
All right,
and
Michelle, but Cameroon is a country, whether it's funerals, christening, or what, we must not only talk about the modern times, we must look about the tradition and the culture of the people to get women involved. And when it comes to this, food and entertainment plays a very vital role. We can't be floating. We have to go to the very base to our culture, where we come from, how we do things, and this must be maintained because this is our identity.
Okay, Michelle, you want to react?
Yes, and you see, for me, it's very clearly the shift in the generation, in the attitude that I was talking about. We came to realize that the woman today does not think, first of all, that she's a woman and this is her place in the society. She thinks, I'm a brain, I have ambitions, I have dreams, I have particular needs, aspirations.
Of course.
How are those taken into account? And this is where CRM decided we have 5 pillars in the vision for the development of this country. One of the pillars is, what do we do on the health and solidarity field? And the first chapter is special program for women.
Okay.
What do we do for women?
What's a special program for women?
First and foremost, we need to get to understand that it's having women more involved in the running of the society is like walking on your 2 feet.
Okay.
More than half of the population is composed of women. And I think where we went wrong is we kind of started by treating the women as a category, whereas it's the majority. So you realize that half is women, half is men. What is your policy? What are the problems of women and how do you address those problems? First problem, access to health, access to work, access to a professional and political career. Is there something that is not balanced? If you talk about health, we say, okay, something that is peculiar to women is they give birth. What are you doing with the cost of that in your health policy.
Now, what is MRC proposing?
CRM is saying on that particular issue, we don't want women to pay an extra amount because they are giving birth through surgery. So we are going to make this free of charge, because not only is that too expensive, but also you run a risk if you don't have the money to die in the course of giving life. So that is one key thing. And Maurice Kamto said very clearly, beginning of 2019, if I'm the president, this will be in place. No question about that. Then let's talk about, they take care of the kids. So malaria, things like that are going to be taken, healed free of charge.
Okay.
You need to have free access. Then education.
Before we come to education, I want to see what the SDF is proposing in terms of health. We're talking of health.
Healthcare. Okay, it's almost the same picture because Joshua Usi is proposing free, a better healthcare plan where a pregnant woman is taken care of when she's pregnant, during delivery, and the child from 0 to 2 years is being taken care of by the state.
Okay.
Okay, so when it comes to that, I think it's a similar program. And we've used this for campaign. We've even encouraged men who couldn't get married because they thought having children is tedious, is this. We encourage young people.
Do you think it's a major problem women are going through? It's a problem? It's a difficulty?
It is because like in rural areas where they can't really afford, good medical care, the centers are not there, they have to move out. What do? They don't even have the money because they're all rural women. Okay. And with SDF, it's not just doing it as policies and this. We invest in human beings.
Okay.
We invest in women.
Okay.
We are human investors.
All right, let's look at education.
So
because I believe we have health.
Yes,
it's
and
a major problem.
We have education. You're totally right. Just on health, I just want to give one more information is that how are we going to fund that is always an area of concern.
It's a question that so many people are asking.
Of course.
We have this particular levy on CRTV tax that you have as employees and employers. They pay 1.3%, if I'm not mistaken, which is a kind of levy aimed at funding CRTV. Most of it is not sent to CRTV, but what we intend to do is 1/3 of this will go effectively to CRTV, and 2/3 will be utilized to create a fund, a solidarity fund that will take care of the cost of this medical care. We have to bring the medical centers closer to the people. 500 meters away is our vision.
Okay.
Every Cameroonian should have a health care center 500 meters away from them by 2025.
All right.
Now, on education, we know that primary school, basically, young girls and young boys go to primary school. We want to make it mandatory up until the end of secondary school. It will be free, but it also will be mandatory, because if you don't make it an obligation, then some of the men will tend to say, oh, she has to go to get married. If she gets married, we can't create a society where you feel guilty because you want to get married or give birth. We have in plan to create centers close to the education facilities to help you take care of your children while you are still learning. The training has to be a training aiming at stimulating your creativity, getting you to have knowledge in science and technology, instead of having this general knowledge that you can't use on the work field. We want to create a society where most of the people can create something and can become, have a skill at the end of their studies very early. Instead of having general knowledge, go to university, and then after that start having trainings in order to be able to become employees. That's the vision. What we want to say is that the vision for women is within a broader vision of the society, and I think that is what is new and important, because we can't continue to have them considered as a small category of the population, like disabled people.
Right.
It's not the minority of the population, is the vast majority, and the program for the country is mainly the program for the women.
Now, before we get to your Esther, I would like the Social Democratic Front. I want us to tell us your own program when it comes to education.
When I listen to her talk, you know, it seems as if it's the same party because we have similar programs.
Okay.
And we have free education.
Okay.
Right up to right up to secondary school. It's compulsory. We have educational university education. We no longer pay school fees, and in higher institutes of learning.
But there's still a problem after that.
Yep.
You see women go through school, but at a certain stage, the girl child is discriminated. Now, how do you explain that? Now, how do you intend to handle that? Because at a certain stage in their life, these women disappear. Now, how do you explain it?
Let me say something. You see, this is Cameroon. This is a country we're all living in.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to think that the Cameroon woman is not a dynamic woman or the girl child is not a dynamic girl.
Okay.
Because if you look at the program, if you even take the university certain, you've got 2 chancellors who are women, at least to the best of my knowledge, Gaundere and Bamenda.
Is that enough?
No, it's not enough. We don't yet meet the Beijing quota, but at least accepted that we are moving
towards that,
lamely towards it. But that's where Joshua
But the 30% quota is not really respected when you go to legislation.
We've not yet got to that point.
Okay.
That's where Joshua comes in, to increase this quota, where women are seen in public service, in decision-making bodies. Because I don't want to say Cameroonian women are not educated. Each time I watch television when there is graduation, I see the number of women coming out from queues. I see the number of women coming out from teachers training college. I see the number of women who are journalists. And you have women directors, and I don't want to say we are reinventing or the women are not doing something, and it's these politicians who are coming to bring a renaissance, a rebirth, and this. The women are there. What they need is a push and something to sustain where they are now, to continue this upward growth and upward placement of women in policy making.
I'm seeing Esther is itchy to talk. No.
Yes, on the issue, on the aspect of education, like you said, coming out of the university. I remember when I was still in school, and I have one lecturer who always laugh at us women, that when you look at in the classroom, in the office, girls are hundreds. But when it comes to practicing, actually being professionals of what they studied in school, or the women are back in the kitchens, they are married to one man somewhere. Yeah. I think that we need our presidential candidates to tell us after university, they should let us know that whereas they are coming to power, they are going to make education in Cameroon much more professional. They are going to create opportunities for entrepreneurship. They are going to create opportunities for women to evolve, because we women have been relegated to the back. If some of us did not fight to come out of the dark, we will still be in the back, married to someone somewhere, and what we studied in school would have just ended there.
But at least the political programs of some of the candidates has
yes, that's what we're saying, and
it's pushing you to go at least.
That's why we are here, Maureen, to let the women know what these candidates have for us, so that we will know why we are casting our votes for them.
All right.
Yes, and for us it is very important, because we need, and that's how we women think, right? We go to politics because it is useful. If we can't understand why it is useful, then we won't go there.
That's true.
And on that particular issue, and that is the reason why we have a program specifically indicating that we would train women in leadership, help them build their leadership skills, because it doesn't come just like that. And you need, as a woman, to be trained on how to go on this battleground and be successful. We want to have special training for professional university that are professional universities. We have funds that will be created in every single region that will be dedicated at helping the young women to build, create a business. And this thing about children is essential. We need to have special care facilities for the children. So in some countries you have that. If you want to continue to breastfeed your boy or girl, and you have to choose between your job 10 kilometers away from your house and breastfeeding, it creates a problem. If you have the facility, have that issue, you understand. And that's how you, and also one key thing is get the fathers to go on leave when they have a child. Not only maternity leave, but paternity leave. It is important.
3 months maternity leave.
No, it will not be that long, but it is important because that affects.
It can be 50-50.
Yes, and you will no more have bosses saying, I can't hire a woman because the minute she's pregnant, I know she's not there anymore. You understand? So these are the kind of policy that creates that balance, because it creates a, yes, we have the responsibility of giving birth. The society is benefiting from that.
And the man shall accompany the woman.
And we have to have something balance to help us doing that job properly.
Now, I want Gladys to tell us, Madam Gladys, to tell us something, that why should women actually go to the pool on Saturday, October 7th? After listening to you, what should push her to go to the pool? Maybe briefly before we get to our story of the day.
Okay. Development is participatory. Everybody should participate in the development of their country, your village, and your area.
So if women are left out, you should know?
Women are left out, then the development is not balanced. You understand? So you have to get them involved in decision making. That's why SDF is even coming up with federalism. Because in it, you will go right to the roots to pick out those dynamic women in the village. You see, talent is not only going to school, having professional schools. You can have vocational schools. I know women who've gone out of this country with just no education, just the very basic, and they've learned how to install solar energies and things like that. So I don't want to think, or I don't believe, looking at the country, that women don't do things. They do things, but it's to increase the quota of women in all of this.
That's true.
Because if we keep on saying this, and if you look at families today, I bet you the girls are more dynamic than the boys. Yeah, I come from a family where, my father had 20 kids, 14 girls. The girls are all doing fine. The boys are doing fine. My sisters have all had children. The girl kids are exceptional. With the girl kids, you have engineers, you have medical doctors, you have managers of the highest caliber. They've gone to all the Ivy League schools in the world, Oxford, Imperial, McGill, you name it, wherever you have one of them. This is the girl child I am talking about. I come from a humble beginning. So how comes it they are there? So the woman is not only the politicians who need to talk to these women. Women themselves have to be assertive. You understand? They have to go out, even to mix with the politicians, to talk to them, to be involved.
And not be afraid, and not be scared of. There's nothing to be scared about. It's not something for the men, it's something for the women.
And then if you see somebody like Joshua Osei, who can take your dream, somebody who can bring out the best in you, associate with the person, drop your plans, and follow. You're going to profit. You understand?
All right. So we're telling women that you're going to the pools on October 7th, 2018. I want us to watch this report by Dominic Memem Wakim. We'll be right back.
This from the Ministry of Public Health says 6,000 women die in Cameroon yearly in the process of childbirth, threatening figures that women, no matter their party leanings, wants to change. Besides health, Cameroon, being an agricultural country, suffers from poor farm-to-market roads, with women feeling the pinch. Women in Cameroon are practically fed up with the fact that their children, after graduation from schools, stay back at home due to unemployment. Above all this, rising insecurity in the northwest and the southwest regions, east and far north regions of Cameroon, have seen the children of women, both the military and the civilian, slain as slaves and common criminals. These and more have given more reasons to women to cast their votes this year 2018. As they go to the polls, political scientists have been wondering what measures and reasons will guide their choices of deciding the fate of Cameroon. Many pundits think a majority of women vote for a candidate not because he or she can offer change in the community, but because of immediate material and financial gifts offered. No woman as a candidate this year, true, but women still stand a chance of influencing the result of the polls if they come out massively and cast their votes on the 7th of October.
Welcome back. We're talking about women and politics, and we have the 2018 presidential election is very close. I want every woman to be involved. We want every woman to go to the poll come October 7, 2018. That's why we've invited a fine brains women involved in politics. It started from somewhere, and they have reach another destination. They're somewhere and they're like role models to you. So when you look at them, you don't have to get scared. That's why they're here to tell you more about their lives in politics. We have another woman that has joined us here in the studio. She's called Ewi Elizabeth. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
Now, how are you today? We are gradually getting to the October 7th presidential election. And now, how ready are women? When you look at women, are they ready?
Women are ready. Women are very ready.
How? How do you explain?
Elections in itself, the elections for this year are not just beginning today. They are 36 years old. So for every politician that has been in politics, have the calendar of the country.
Okay.
So before these elections, there were women. With these elections, there are women.
Now, we have so many women that still shy away from politics, but we still have to talk about that, even though we have a lot that have evolved in terms of women and politics in Cameroon. It's not the same thing like 10 years back when we used to talk about very few women that were involved in politics. Now, maybe we'd like to find out from you, what pushed you into politics?
First of all, my person, I'm a political being.
Okay.
As a housewife, I'm a politician.
How?
Of course, because I have to rule my house as an administrator.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a lot of functions to do as a woman. And these functions are given to me not just by me, but by God himself.
Okay.
You remember that God, in creating a woman, gave her special status and gave her additional force to be able to rule.
Okay.
Our traditions, maybe our culture, has decided to push the woman to the background. And like in my place, where I come from, the woman before now has nothing to say. You don't have any contribution. You just need to stay in the kitchen.
All right. Now, how do you try to? We have a lot of women out there who want to be in politics, who want to follow other women, but there's something that keeps on pulling them behind. They can't explain. But now, how do you try to get it out of your home, these leadership skills, and get involved with other people? We'll have a lot of women suffering from that. Maybe they are being pushed down by their husbands. Maybe they are being pushed down by the society.
Well, let me give you my dear.
Okay.
Now, the woman herself has a lot of things to do and has no plan. I mean, most women don't have programs. They don't have plans. They are contented with their marriage. They are contented with bearing children, They are contented with upbringing. They are contented with their little businesses that they do. And so they have, limits. Their surroundings. They limit themselves to their surroundings. But what we're trying to do, those of us who have come into politics now, is trying to we've got the education and we are bringing it back to the women.
Okay.
And that's what we're using now to put crowd of women behind us to see why they should be in politics.
All right. Now, has it been satisfactory working with the women, pulling the women, especially women in the rural areas? What has been their reaction? Because we have the impression that you concentrate more in the urban areas, and women in the rural areas are more like abandoned to themselves, and politicians only get to them when it's during periods like this.
Yeah, but that's true. That's true. What you're saying is true. But let me give you this background. Now, for my person, I started politics even as a CPDM woman. At that time, it was one-party system. And when I joined the CPDM, what they saw in me was my charisma. Okay. That's the first thing. You must develop the love for politics. Yeah, my dear? You should develop the love for politics. That's when you get into it, you start doing your own findings.
Okay.
When you start doing the findings, you find other people who were there and who have an idea, who will now add to what you have, and then you build yourself up.
All right, Esther?
Now, it's often said that politics is a dirty game. And we know women will not want to get involved into things like that. What are you, as a female politician, doing or telling that woman who is comfortable, like you said, with childbearing, with a marriage, and a small business, to come out of that environment and begin to face the world as a politician?
Well, let me underline the word you just said. Politics is a dirty game. Truly, politics is a dirty game for dirty people.
Okay.
But for people who are conscious, they will not get into dirty games. And that's where I find myself.
Okay.
Now, when I went into the CPDM they voted me as a public relations officer. Between 1988-89, the mafia I saw in the CPDM, oh, my sister, in fact, even plus women, it means that the women in the CPDM are just handpicked. They don't contest elections. They are handpicked, and then they are being paid. So when I saw this type of thing, I said no. And then when they handpick them like that, they are given instructions on what to do when it comes to election.
Okay.
They tell you are voting for this person because that person had paid you. They even make girlfriends with those men. I saw it, I have lived it. And then those women, if we bring up a woman, they are the girlfriends of this man who is standing elections, who contests elections, who is campaigning for the man and not for the woman. So now, when I saw this thing, in 1990 when the SDF came into being, I told them that this is the end of it, because there we have free talking. You say what you want, and you say it objectively.
Okay.
So I got into the SDF. And in the SDF, I continued with my career in politics. But let me tell you, in the SDF, as I went into the SDF, my political life started within my quarter, because where I live in my household is virtually the basis of everybody, of every politics. Okay. The way I live with my husband, with my children's friends, my neighbors, the widows around me. I stretch my hand of fellowship. I console. I have a forgiving heart. I take your issue as mine.
Okay.
These are some of the qualities that you build to become a politician.
Those are the leadership
qualities. You develop them. You have them. You put them across. So when it came to elections in my quarter, the women in my quarter came out and said, no, put her there. There were 3 men contesting. I stood my elections, I beat the men. The man who came, I had about 80-something votes. The next person who came behind me had 12. The third person had 9. And so that is how I started my career. You must start with yourself.
All right, you must start from somewhere. Now, Michelle, want to react to something?
Yes, and on this thing, that the reason why as a woman you go into politics is that you understand how useful that is to your community.
Okay.
Men
that's what she was trying
tend
to develop
think,
here.
yeah, that's exactly what she's been saying. Men tend to think about how powerful they will be. We think about how useful we would be, impactful we will be for our communities.
Okay.
So how do we encourage women to get into that
is the question.
dirty game?
That is the
By
question.
getting them to understand that's the point.
Okay.
If you don't realize that's the point, if you don't realize you have to go to these meetings if you want the school in your neighborhood to be refurbished, if you want the salaries of the people who are working there and taking care of your children to be increased, you have to go into the politics, because it's when you become a city councillor that you will have a say on the education policy in your area. It is when you become a parliamentarian that you will be able to discuss the agricultural policy. How much are we putting in the budget? Government, like in CRM, we have a plan to develop seeds for agriculture. Okay, we know that the majority of the people who are involved in that sector are women. If they are not in the parliament, who will defend the women to increase the amount of money that is put in research and innovation on the agricultural field? That is where you start understanding, oh, as a woman, I have to go to
So
get
now
into
how do you
this.
get the women involved?
That's
the
the
question.
question.
Now you have to get the women
That's
involved.
my question.
That is
exactly
because
why
I
you
think
need
that
to-
I think
Let me
that
give you the
you need
strategy,
to
my dear.
create
Let her-
avenues
no, let
for
me
these
give you-
women
no, let me
to
give
get this
you
information.
A living situation. Now, when the women voted for me as a ward leader in the SDF, I went into the SDF. The SDF now brought me up. And by training me, I went to so many trainings by Fedrish Eber Foundation.
Okay.
Fedrish Eber Foundation started training women in politics.
Okay.
I went to that meeting. That meeting was in Bana, and there they were training us on internal and external communication. The first thing is that you must know what you're saying and where you're saying it. After that one, they took us again for another seminar, a gender mainstreaming. Fedrish Eber Foundation did not end there. They took us again for another serious one, conflict management and conflict resolution.
Okay.
Now,
This
let me
is
tell
very
you.
important.
Yes, let me tell you. These 3 tools that Fedrish Eber Foundation gave me, this is what I took to help the women in my village.
Okay.
Now, when I took these 3 tools, I went down in their trainings. You are supposed to go down there as a leader and identify the problems plaguing your environment. Maybe you sit with the people. After that, you analyze it. You sit with the people, analyze it, and then you come up with a plan of action. When I went back home, I went in my village. I know the problems already. We have a serious problem, the farmer grazier. I went and took the strategy that they gave me. I took the documentation I read and made sure that I mobilized 11 women. I sorted out the best women, the very vocal women, those women who had something to say. These 11 women came and sat with me, Michelle, and I put down the issue on the floor. I said, all right, can we identify the problems that you have?
Okay.
I threw it back to them. The women started telling me the problems they have. And now we registered them and we started working on it. We started prioritizing those problems. And on the problems, we saw that the farmer grazier problem was important because the average Arab woman or mentioned woman is a farmer.
Okay.
That's where she earns her daily bread. And so I took upon this, we started working on that topic. We went down in our analysis, we discovered who were the people who were disturbing us from our getting good farms or farming products or getting land titles or what. We got all those things.
Okay.
But let me tell you, when I had finished with that situation, we came into implementation.
Okay.
And we held the country spellbound.
Right.
And when it came to election, the women said, no, this man Eli like this. No, you go again for another school. You go again for politics. That is it.
Time is no longer on our side, but I want us to answer one question. I want us to look at the cameras and tell the women why they need to go to the polls on October 7th. Michelle?
Because by doing that, you're showing to your kids that you're a good mother. You're showing to your sisters that you're a good sister. You're showing to your mother that you are a good girl because you take care of your people. And taking care of our country is taking care of our people. That is why we should go to this police station and express our voice. Let us tell the world that the person we've chosen for a president is named Maurice Kamto.
All right. Now, the SDF?
Well, my dear sister, my mind is so hardened this time around. But I must tell
I want
you
you to
the truth.
address the women.
I
Just
must
1 minute.
Yes, I must tell you the truth. The women will go out there to vote for Joshua Usi Nabangi. By his name, biblically, will tell you the person Joshua is. Joshua has not just started politics today. Remember when we had the Boko Haram, when Boko Haram just started? Joshua Nabangi Usi, is the lone person who came out and went into that house, into Marwa, went down to the field and saw the sufferings of the women and gave assistance to the women.
So what are you telling the women?
The women should come out and vote for that young man. That is the man who has the yam and the knife to save this country.
Okay.
He's dynamic. He's soft-hearted. He understands.
Okay. Esther, your last word to women out there?
I would just advise women out there, young ladies out there, before you cast your vote for any candidate, make sure you understand their program. And not just because of what you've been given or what the promises in the air. Make sure you go deep into their programs. If they are available online, you read them, you understand them before you cast your vote for any candidate. It's your choice and it's the future of you and your children.
I just want to start from where you ended. The future of your children is a future. It's your own future. So we're telling women today that you need to go out there on October 7th and vote for the right candidates, those that can impact change for women, the girl child, and society at large. The program was Turn Up. Thanks for watching.